A concerning new report from Food Banks Canada says increased levels of poverty and hunger are becoming normalized in this country. Food bank visits continue to rise across Canada, reaching nearly 2.2 million monthly visits. That's double the number from 2019. Nearly 1 in 5 people who rely on food banks have jobs. That's up from 12% 6 years ago. A third of food bank users are children, a third of them, representing nearly 712,000 monthly visits this year. And 70% of food bank users live in rental housing. Food Banks Canada is calling for legislative changes to tackle the crisis. With me now is Richard Matern. He's the research director with Food Banks Canada. Richard, good morning. So glad that you could join us today. I just want to start by getting your reaction to seeing the growth in food bank usage, even in just a few short years.
Yeah, it is. It is shocking about how persistent this growth has been. It's unfortunately continuing to stagger in the wrong direction. We're always looking for a decrease in usage, and to see it persistently increase year after year is continues to be a concern and reinforces the need for urgent action.
And we'll talk about that action in just a second, but I think there are a few notable points from this most recent study. The first one being that employed people are using food banks.
Yeah, so 1 in 5 would be 20% almost are using food banks, and that's compared to 1 in 10 before the pandemic. And that those who are employed, they constitute every segment of the labor market. We're seeing construction workers, we're seeing receptionists, we're seeing people who work in healthcare. It's pretty much there's no one who's unscathed from the impacts of the rising costs of living that have occurred in particular in the last few years, whereas average wages have not been able to keep up with that. So it shows how deep and pervasive this issue is.
And 33% of food bank users are children.
And we are seeing 23% now are households with children, so two-parent families with children, and that's compared to 19% in 2019. So similar to the working poor population, families with children in particular have been particularly hard hit by these cumulative increases in the cost of living, especially in regards to housing and food, which now constitute almost 100% of the disposable incomes of those in the lowest income quintile alone. So people are having to dig into their savings. And it's showing how it's becoming normalized, and poverty and hunger is becoming normalized because people have little choice at this point but to access a food bank because there's little buffer for them.
All right.
Once they reach hard times.
Let's talk about how we move forward on this. Have you seen any changes in policy or efforts from the provincial or federal governments? What can be done, Richard?
So we're encouraging signs in the upcoming federal budget that we've been hearing about around the implementation of a commitment to the implementation of the National School Food Program, and also to automatic tax filing. So that's a very important piece. In our own tax clinics that we run across the country, from about 28 food banks alone, we've seen about 100 million in returns, and the bulk of those are child tax benefits. So automatic tax filing will infinitely increase the number of people who are receiving the benefits that they're already entitled to. However, continuing looking forward into the budget, we're also looking for initiatives that increase affordability, such as reducing, or increasing support for affordable housing, and also creating initiatives that will help people afford food, including a groceries and essentials benefit, which would be a targeted income benefit going to low-income populations, and then continuing to reform and close the gaps in our social safety nets, such as EI reform, building on the Canada Disability Benefit, increasing the accessibility and adequacy of it.
Richard, so glad you were able to join us this morning and share details about this report. Richard Matern is the research director with Food Banks Canada.